Welcome to 8.8 Day 1 Factor Polynomials Completely. Today we're going to deal with four terms. Okay, so do you guys see how you have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms? 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. It's a special new type of factoring that works when you have four terms. Okay, so maybe we write that at the top. This is four-term factoring, and it's called factor by grouping. So this is when you have four terms. Okay, but first we're going to introduce something special about it. So we're not really going to do it yet. Okay, so first I want you guys to look at this. See how this piece and this piece both have a common factor? See how they both have an x plus 4 in parentheses? So when that happens, what we're going to do is take that out. So we're going to factor out that common parenthesis. And once we factor it out, we're going to draw another parenthesis and see what's left over. Okay, so if we take the x plus 4 out, what's left over is anything that's not part of that. So 2x minus 3. That's what's left over. And that is factored. Okay, so once you guys have two pieces with a common parenthesis, take it out. And then all the other stuff that's left over goes in the other parenthesis. Okay, let's try one more. So see how this piece and this piece both have a y minus 2? Okay, that means we can factor it out. So we're going to pull out the y minus 2. And in the other parenthesis is all the other stuff that we did not take out. So 3y squared plus 5. Okay, and that's it. So that's a little warm-up for the rest of the lesson. Okay, now we're going to get into factor four terms by grouping. First thing you guys have to do is rewrite it in descending order. So the highest power we write first, the next highest power we write second, the next highest power we write third, and the constant we write last. Okay, always write it in descending order first. Okay, factor by grouping says, break it up into two pairs and pull out the GCF from each pair. Okay, so what's the GCF here? What can you guys take out of x cubed and 3x squared? And hopefully you guys are saying, not really much, nothing here, so just a 1, but then the smaller amount of x's that they both have, so you can pull out an x squared. Okay, what's left over? Once you take out an x squared, well, 1 divided by 1 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, and then minus 3 divided by 1 is 3, and 2 minus 2 is 0. See how there's nothing left? Okay, now let's jump into the second piece. And what's the GCF of these guys? What can we pull out of 2 and 6? Well, you can pull out a 3. So we're going to pull out a positive 3. I'm sorry, 2. What am I doing? 2. 2 and 6, you could pull out a 2. If you divide them both by 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1x. And negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Okay, now look back to what we did up here. Don't you have something in common? See how they both have a parenthesis of x minus 3. So that means we can divide out the x minus 3, and then what's left over in the other parenthesis? It's all this other stuff. 1x squared plus 2. 1x squared plus 2. That is how you factor by grouping. And then guess what? If you were to double distribute, you would get back to where you started. Okay, let's try one more. Number 4. First step, rewrite it so it is in descending order. So the highest power comes first. The second highest power comes second. the x term comes next, and the constant comes last. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Pair them off and pull out the GCF of the first two terms. So what do these guys have in common? What can you take out? Okay, so they both have a 1, and then the smaller power is x squared. So we can pull out a 1x squared. And if you divide that out of both, what do you have left? So 1 divided by 1 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then plus 2 divided by 1 is 2. And there's no x's left because 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, now we jump to the second pair, and we also pull out the GCF. Okay, so here's a hint. If the front one's negative, you always pull out a negative. Okay, but 5 and 10. What number divides into both 5 and 10? It's a 5. So we're going to pull out a negative 5. They both don't have an x, so we cannot pull out an x. All right, let's divide. Negative 5x divided by negative 5 is just positive 1x. And then negative 10 divided by negative 5 is positive 2. Okay, look for that common factor, that common parenthesis. That common parenthesis, we're going to pull that out. And then the other parenthesis is all the other stuff that's left. So 1x squared minus 5. X squared minus 5. So that is called factor by grouping. It's when you have 4 terms. And again, if you want to check, you can double distribute and you'll be back to where you started. Okay, so on the next page, that's it, actually. Okay, so cool. That's it. Nice job, and we'll practice this in class the next day.